Hello. I've received a few emails requesting a information on Packet Tracer, um, so I'm going to provide that here. I'm going to apologize in advance. You may hear my dog bark in the background at times. Hopefully she doesn't disturb us, and hopefully it's not too loud, but she might, and I'm warning you. So I've posted an announcement on eCentennial about where and how to get Cisco Packet Tracer. Just go to Cisco Netacad, uh, log or create an account, log in. They make you do I think, a 10-question quiz, and then you get it free. I've got Packet Tracer here open in Linux. It works in Windows, Mac OS, any operating system, so you should be good to go. So what Packet Tracer is it's simulation software, network simulation software, and you can build some really simple up to some really complex stuff. It supports pretty much everything you can do on a router or switch. Um, it doesn't quite fully support some of the advanced functionalities in routers and switches, but that's nothing that's going to affect us because we're not touching that stuff in this course. We're just going to be doing the basic stuff. So I'm going to show you kind of an intro to the interface, where different things are, some best practice do's and don'ts, and then I'll run through a basic, simple configuration for you with a PC to a router, maybe with a switch in the middle. So if you look down here, we've got your different devices. So within network devices, we've got routers. Click the tab there, you've got switches, and there's all your different switch types. Hubs, which we've not used. Wireless, if you really want to get into wireless. Other things here too. Usually, especially for this course, you're just going to stick with switches and routers. Over in end devices, the second one here, that's where you've got PCs, laptops, servers, and a whole range of other things. Again, PC is fine for what we need. And then over here in connections, if you hover over each one, it'll tell you what it is in the bottom here. So this lightning bolt one is kind of cheat mode. Don't use it. It will automatically choose the connection type, and it'll probably get your cabling right, but it doesn't allow you to select what port you want things plugged into, so it may not work properly. If you need to emulate a console rollover connection to a console port, you can do that with this one. There's straight through and crossover. Then we get into a lot of things we're not really going to use: fiber, phone, coax, serial, DCE, and DTE might be useful for some of the later labs. I think you need a couple serial cables, and then some other stuff here that we are just never going to use. Uh, so I'm gonna throw a router and a switch down. Incidentally, if you want to set multiple devices, you can hold down the control button and click the device you want. So let's go to the 1941. So if you hold down control and click, then you can lay multiples of them down just by clicking your left click mouse button. Hit escape to stop that, and if you want to delete a bunch at once, you can just box select them like that, hit delete, and they're gone. So there's a router. It's not going to do anything yet. Let's throw a switch down there too. Let's for a 2960 switch. And if we go to our end devices, let's stick a PC out here as well. So we got really basic topology. Router, PC, switch in the middle. Let's cable it up. So because they're different type devices, we're going to use a straight through cable. Fast Ethernet 0. And let's go to Fast Ethernet 01 here. And because I held down control when I hit the cable, it will allow me to cable up multiple devices, which could be very, very useful. Let's go off the gigabit port there and into the gigabit 00 here. Now some useful before we get too carried away, useful things that you can toggle that might be highly useful. Let's see if I found the right thing. Yeah. So if you go into Options, Preferences, in this first pane here in Interfaces, always show port labels. Turn that on, and there's your ports for your different things. I find that a really, really handy thing to turn on. You may as well. Up to you. So, I'm not gonna do very much in the way of subnetting review, but we're gonna do some basic cabling. I've already got some networks sorted out. So I've taken 192.168.0.0/24, divided it into two subnets. We're going to put second one up here. We can move that label around. And I'm just doing this for my sake. Whoops. Wrong thing. Just makes it easier to see what's going on. And those are, should label them properly. They're /25 now. So for this, again, review your subnetting. Your subnetting is going to be super useful for the practical test, which we will be doing in Packet Tracer. That's why I'm giving you a demo in Packet Tracer. I'm going to click on the router. We're going to load up the command line, so you just go over it. Now, I should note, you can do things through the config tab here. Don't. Again, it's cheat mode. It won't give you a full view of the commands. But if we load up the router command line here, there we get our command line. And let's see if I can make that font a little bit bigger. I think I can. Bear with me a second. There we go, font. Let's make that, say, a 16. Let's see what that does. Apply. There we go. That's easier to read, I think. So we've got our router command line here. I'm going to go through some basic configuration. This should be mostly review. Said no to initial dialog, hit enter to start. We get our prompt. Type enable, or EN for short. conft or configure terminal. We're going to set the host name to something sensible, R1 in this case. Now let's give, if we go back to our labeling here for a second, we got 192.168.0.128 up here. Let's give the last usable IP in the subnet to this, hold on, that doesn't need to be there. That needs to be over here. There we go. So we're going to have the last usable IP address in the subnet in 192.168.0.0 to the router. We're going to give the first one to the PC. And we're going to do the same up here and give the last one to the loopback interface. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, make that bigger. So interface G00. Let's see, we changed to our interface. Let's confirm. Yep, that's gigabit 00. We're going to give it an IP address. Oops. IP add 192.168.0. Now what's the last one in our subnet going to be? 126. the mask 255, 255, 255.128, and no shut. See, it's brought it to up. Now we're going to set the loopback interface, loopback 0. We're going to give it the last usable IP address in the second subnet. It should be 254. With the same mask. And if we hit end, show IP interface brief, we see our IP addresses there. So let's close that. Let's fire up our desktop. Now again, you can go through the config tab here. Don't do it through the desktop. If you click on IP configuration here, you're going to see something very similar to what you see in a Windows command line. So we're going to give it the first IP in the subnet with the same mask. And our default gateway is going to be the IP address of the router, the directly connected interface on the router, which should be 0.126. If we close that, that should have taken. Now if we open our command prompt here, we get a command prompt. There's a couple different ways to simulate ping. We can do it this way first. Let's ping the directly connected interface on the router. See if it worked. You see, we got our packets. 4 sent, 4 received, 0 lost. That's good. Let's try the loopback interface. And there you go. It worked. So play around with Packet Tracer. There's all kinds of fancy things you can do. This is one of the simplest topologies I can think of to give you, and it's similar to what you're going to end up doing on your practical test towards the end, which is coming up in a week or two. So thank you for watching. You're going to see this and a couple lecture videos pop up in the next couple hours, probably all at the same time. So see you in there, and good luck getting your labs done in Packet Tracer. Take care.